guys, how are you all? Today I'm going to be giving my first impressions for a new manga series that I've been checking out. It is called Dungeon ni Deai o Motomeru no wa Machigatte Iru Darou. And the reason why I have my phone here is because internet at my residence has been really horrible for the past week, which is why I couldn't do Manga Mondays on time. My internet would not load for my manga to load, so I couldn't get to like the other series that I've been planning. And I had Dungeon ni Deai loaded on my phone already, so I've just been reading the first 20 chapters of this, and I kind of wanted to give you guys my first impressions of it, because today I was doing a lot of research and fact-checking for the spring anime that's upcoming soon, and I realized that Dungeon ni Deai is going to be one of the new series that's going to be coming in the spring season. At first I thought it was going to be one of those shows where the main protagonist of a present day 2014 world gets thrown into a video game world. But as I kept reading it, I realized that it was actually just a fantasy world. It just so happens that the world is structured in such a way that each of the players have different stats. You can upgrade your stats and you can level up. And the world is kind of divided by professions. So some people are adventurers, some people are guild masters, blacksmiths, tavern owners, stuff like that. So if you guys are into MMORPGs, Dungeon ni Deai is kind of a really good place for you guys to start for the spring season. It follows two characters. The main protagonist is Belle, and the second protagonist is a god named Hestia. I say that Belle is the main protagonist and Belle is a guy because he is part of Hestia's familia. So the world is kind of set up so that humans and gods and magical and mythical creatures all intermingle in one world, in one kingdom. But basically, gods can contract adventurers or other humans or other skilled craftsmen to be in their familia, so it's basically like being in one guild. It's kind of cool because when you're under a certain goddess, you get their blessing and they can kind of raise your stats. They offer protection, and it's just kind of like forming a little family, as the name kind of indicates. So it's cool because you have different gods interacting among themselves and you have kind of power struggles on that side. And then you have some gods who like to mingle with human affairs and they're kind of like toying with humans. The gods and the humans kind of coincide fairly well, so it's mostly about the conflict that happens between gods that are more powerful or less powerful, and between humans encountering different mythical creatures. I really like the Greek mythology elements in the story. I think it adds a really kind of interesting spin to the story. At one point you actually get to see a part of the city that's kind of sectioned off, and that's the Daedalus residential area, and it's like a maze. I thought that was a really cool part to put in it. I found that the series itself is a little bit hard to get into at the very beginning because it's quite dialogue heavy. They're really trying to set the scene in terms of people's social interactions. The story isn't so much focused on overarching plot, as it's mainly told from Belle's perspective. So Belle is pretty oblivious. As a protagonist, he's not quite that interesting. He has that very classic, stubborn, determined kind of hero qualities that you would expect in any sort of shonen action kind of story. The cool thing about Belle is that he has some sort of skill that makes him level up a lot quicker than other people. So this is kind of the mystery that's been going on throughout the story. And gods and other players or administrators have kind of taken an interest in Belle because of his special qualities. And the story kind of moves at its own pace while Belle is centered in the middle of it. But Belle is not directly interacting with any of these elements yet. I've only read the first 20 chapters, so definitely you're gonna have to read further if you want to get into the bulk of the action, because there is so much going on, and the story is quite long. There's hundreds of chapters. I thought it'd be a really cool series to introduce to you guys, because for a lot of you guys who are interested in kind of video game settings, in Sword Art Online or Log Horizon, you guys might be interested in this kind of world because they integrate a lot of video game system things into this world. There are very clear cookie cutter kind of tropes and jobs and skills that everyone has, and in that sense some of the characters can come off as a little bit flat because you end up two-dimensionalizing characters according to a certain trait. The cool thing about adventurers is that as you follow the adventurers throughout each of the dungeons, you get to see a lot of different Greek elements mixed into this dungeon setting. The dungeon itself is kind of the core of the synopsis because it's basically the dominant fantasy element that draws people to the city, but I didn't like how we only really get glimpses of it through the battles, and there's not not a lot of like exploration time. You see Belle go in and out of the fights pretty quickly, but I feel like you have to really get more into the story if you want to get like tangled in all the plots and the conflicts before you get to see more of the world unfold. In terms of art style, I actually really enjoyed how all the panels flowed really nicely together. Sometimes it's dialogue heavy, like I said earlier, but generally, because the panels are very action driven, especially when it comes to the dungeon fighting or the fighting between different adventurers or the fighting between adventurers and gods, you actually get a lot of action, and that makes for really quick paced reading, even though it seems like not a lot is happening in the story. When you get into action scenes, they go like hella quick. And overall, I found the art style and the characters pretty easy to recognize, despite the fact that a lot of different supporting characters keep springing up all the time. The story does a really great job of tying you really closely to the main characters, so you always get to like touch base with like the home characters before other new characters are pulled into the story. There are also like 2 or 3 other series that are spin-off manga series of this original. Some of them are like comedy parodies, some of them are like chibi parodies, so you guys can also check that out if you guys enjoy this series. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I apologize that Manga Mondays did not come on Monday this week. My cold came back with a vengeance, and I've been really sick in bed, and then internet has been horrible in residence all week, which is why I just have not been able to get anything done. But hopefully things will be better this weekend. I'm going to try and catch up on a lot of things. A new Cloudy Says will be coming out very soon for March, so you guys can look forward to that. If you guys enjoyed this, don't forget to share and hit like and subscribe for more from me. A video comes at the beginning of the week and one at the end of the week. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you guys in my next video very soon. Bye!